A sad love story. It all began on a warm summer evening. The sun was setting over the horizon, casting golden hues across the sky as Emma stood by the lake, skipping stones. She had always loved this quiet spot, a place where she could escape the noise of the world and get lost in her thoughts. That evening, however, her solitude was interrupted. Mind if I join you? Came a soft voice from behind. Emma turned to see a young man standing there, his dark hair slightly tousled by the breeze, with a shy smile on his face. His name was Daniel, and little did she know that moment would change everything. Emma smiled back and nodded, and from that day on they met by the lake almost every evening. Daniel had recently moved to this small town for work, and like Emma, he found solace in the peacefulness of the lake. They would talk for hours about everything books, dreams, their past, and the future. Emma found herself opening up to Daniel in ways she had not with anyone else. Daniel was kind, funny, and easy to be around. His laughter was contagious, and his presence made Emma feel like she had known him forever. She had never believed in love at first sight, but with Daniel it felt like fate had brought them together. Over the weeks, their connection deepened. Over the weeks, their connection deepened, and soon their evenings by the lake turned into long walks, dinners, and nights spent talking until dawn. It was not long before they confessed their feelings for each other. It was on a cool autumn night as the leaves began to change color that Daniel took Emma's hand and said, I think I have fallen in love with you. Emma felt her heart skip a beat. She had been waiting to hear those words, and in that moment, she realized she had fallen in love with him too. I love you too, Daniel, she whispered, tears of joy filling her eyes. From that moment, they were inseparable. Their love was young and passionate, full of hope and dreams of a future together. They talked about getting a small house in the countryside, starting a family, and growing old side by side. Everything felt perfect. Emma believed they would be together forever. But as the seasons changed, so did Daniel. It started slowly. Daniel began canceling their plans, saying he was too tired from work or that he needed some space. At first, Emma didn't think much of it. Everyone gets busy, she told herself. But the distance between them grew. He stopped showing up by the lake, stopped calling as much, and when they were together, it felt like he was somewhere else entirely. Emma tried to ignore it, but the sadness gone at her. She missed the Daniel who had laughed with her by the lake, who had whispered promises of forever. One evening, after weeks of drifting apart, Emma confronted him. Daniel, what's going on? You have been so distant. Did I do something wrong? She asked, her voice trembling with fear. Daniel sighed, looking away. It's not you, Emma. It's just I'm not sure about us anymore. I don't know if I feel the same way. Emma's heart shattered at his words, but we love each other, she whispered. We talked about our future, about everything. I know, Daniel said quietly, but things change. I have changed. I don't know if I am ready for what we planned, and I don't want to hurt you by pretending. Emma felt tears welling up, but she fought to keep them from falling. She wanted to scream, to ask him why, to tell him they could fix things. But deep down she knew love, as beautiful as it was, didn't always last, and sometimes, no matter how much you wanted to hold on, you had to let go. For days, Emma could not bring herself to visit the lake, the place that had once been filled with laughter and love now felt empty, haunted by memories of what had been. The ache in her chest was unbearable, and the thought of living without Daniel was too much to bear. One evening, as winter set in and the first snow began to fall, Emma found herself standing by the lake once again. The water was still frozen in the cold, and the trees stood bare against the dark sky. She stood there for a long time, watching the snowflakes fall softly onto the surface of the water. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. For a brief moment, her heart leaped, hoping it was Daniel, that maybe he had come back to explain, to tell her he had made a mistake, that he still loved her. But when she turned around, it was just a stranger passing by, hurrying home through the snow. Emma sighed, her breath visible in the cold air. She knew Daniel wasn't coming back. He had moved on, and now she had to find a way to move on too. But the memory of their love, the warmth, the once that would stay with her forever, like the first sunset they had watched together by the lake, and the last one she watched alone. The end. This story captures the bittersweet nature of love, how it can start so beautifully, but sometimes fade away, leaving behind only memories and pain of loss.